Hello, folks. John Matsilios here. Just give everyone a moment to join. For those that are joining, why don't you put a comment in, maybe first name and where you're coming from, just so I know that we're gathering here. All right. We have a Wayne from Toronto. We'll wait 1 minute and then we'll get started. All right, during the session, feel free to put questions into the comments. We'll try to get to them at the end of the session. And at the end, we'll also put up a QR code and have a file available for download in terms of what the presentation material is. All right, I see it's a couple minutes after. We'll get started, and hopefully people will continue to join. So we start off with the idea of product delivery lifecycle. It's a take on product development lifecycle because really the delivery part is the, we come up with an idea to help meet some certain business outcomes that we're trying to get to. And we take it through all the way to a product, and that allows us then to actually meet meet the goals of the business outcome. So, for example, if a business outcome is to try to increase revenue, a goal may be increase revenue within a certain segment by 20% to get that overall outcome. So the connection between business outcomes and product delivery lifecycle really is essential, and it can significantly influence the success of a company's product. The life cycle should be aligned with the broader business objectives, which we have up here, to ensure that their products not only meet customer expectations, but also contribute positively to the overall business outcome. Let me just click on the presentation. Give me a sec. Oh, it won't go. Hold on. Give me a second here. See what's happening. Limitations of technology. Well, now I may have to get out of it and right back in. Just give me a second here. Okay, got it going again. Great, thank you. Got it going again. Don't know what happened there, but we got it going again. So let's get over into product design. So the product design phase is a critical stage that helps determine the strategic direction and operational effectiveness of our product development. The product roadmap, so there's different parts to this. We have a roadmap, we identify different features, and we put in a step there about responding to feedback. And we'll go through this. The product roadmap begins with a clear understanding of its strategic vision and of the objectives. It lays out the timeline for when products and features are expected to be developed and launched. The roadmap itself is a living document and requires continuous updates to reflect new insights, technological advances, competitive landscape shifts, and feedback from users. We're going to use a story to walk us through all the different points here. So we're going to talk about headphone manufacturers. So I'm an avid runner. I go running in the mornings. Typically, I wear my headphones, and I've always wondered, wouldn't it be nice to remove a lot of the noise that's around me while I'm running, so I can really immerse myself in the run, enjoy what's happening there. So we'll take the case of a headphone manufacturer leading the development of a noise canceling headphone tailored for runners. So the business outcome they might be trying to achieve could be enhancing the market share amongst runners in the health and fitness sector. And by introducing this noise canceling headphone, the manufacturer is trying to capture a significant portion of the runner's market. The roadmap is updated with details on when and how the feature will be developed, tested, and refined, and with specific milestones for completions. So that's in terms of the roadmap. Lots of experience in helping product teams put roadmaps together, and that's typically what we end up doing. How does the roadmap get us to that business outcome? So the idea of the noise canceling headphones themselves stem from team feedback as they're going through the business outcomes and trying to figure out what they're trying to achieve. And it was identified that this idea or feature would tie back to that business outcome. So the team was convinced that their popular noise canceling technology would benefit runners, and the product owner took that information, initiated various focus groups with the runners to test new headphones and to validate that the idea was sound. Validating the feature involves getting insights about user needs, preferences, and pain points by utilizing methods such as surveys, interviews, focus groups, and user observation. In this particular case, the user feedback was collected via focus group discussions. Gather a bunch of runners together, walk through the different ideas of what we're trying to do here, and possibly had some kind of prototype. But the runners actually started looking at the idea itself, and they praised the headphones or the theory, the design of the headphone for the ability to block out distracting traffic and city sounds. However, during these sessions, excitement turned to concern after having a couple of these discussions in terms of a particular experienced marathoner who's done a lot of running with headphones asked, would it not be dangerous if a vehicle was approaching from behind and I couldn't hear it? And so all the other runners started echoing that, saying, yes, that is quite dangerous if we don't hear it. The team or the product owner took that noted safety concern back and said, we have an issue here. So the team was able to quickly pivot and incorporate this feedback into redesigning the headphones to switch between noise cancellation and also allowing ambient sounds in. So it's not only the feedback from clients, but also market trends and technologies evolving. Sorry, let me got that mixed up a bit. The roadmap got updated for that particular design feature. And we also have to consider different trends in the industry in terms of what else might be impacting that. So is the popular color white, black, red, yellow happening? So the different focus groups might get into that and bring that back and again pivot. But let's keep it to the basics. We had the one headphone there. We'll keep it to we'll keep it black color. And so we're going forward now with the updated roadmap and design that allows for noise cancellation and to hear ambient sounds. Next part of this is actually to get through the product refinement stage. So now we get into the different areas of this, and the team begins writing the user stories that articulate specific functionalities and user goals. Here's a user story that might be applicable here. As a runner, I want to easily switch the noise cancellation feature on my headphones so that I can stay aware of my surroundings when needed. These user stories are then refined, which involves adding detail and clarity to ensure that they are actionable and understandable. For complex features, the larger stories are typically broken down or split into smaller, more manageable stories or tasks. For example, a broader story about enhancing audio quality with noise cancellation might be split into smaller stories focusing on different aspects of the sound experience. Prioritizing these user stories is essential in helping teams to focus their efforts on delivering the most valuable features first. This may be based on various factors, including the value they add to the user experience, dependencies, and strategic importance to product success. A couple of popular methods include Moscow method. I've used this many times in my past. It's really thinking about what should the feature must have, what it should have, what could have, and what won't have at this particular time. So for this idea of having a noise cancellation and allowing ambient sound in, it must be able to toggle back and forth. So that it has to be, so that must also has to be easily toggled back and forth. What it should have is possibly being water resistant. So that it should be water resistant. What it won't have at this time is the color orange. I'm not a particular fan of the color orange, so it won't have orange at this particular time. A different method of determining prioritization is weighted shortest job first, or WSJF. This is primarily used in scaled agile, and there's other applications for it, but it prioritizes stories based on the cost of delay divided by the actual job size. And there's a formula around that, there's a whole exercise on how that's done. But prioritization is an ongoing process as development progresses and feedback is received. So then the team starts to design experiments and how to test these different hypotheses about behavior and preferences. Uh, in this particular example, the feedback loop would gather quantitative and qualitative data on whether users prefer a physical button or a touch sensor for switching back and forth between noise cancellation and the ambient sound mode. As we transition into incremental delivery, the headphone company focuses on executing the refined product vision through deliberate, iterative steps that maintain the integrity and quality of the product. To ensure quality, the team implements a continuous integration system where code is integrated and tested frequently. Each increment of the product is subjected to a series of automated tests to catch and fix bugs early. Very successful in catching bugs early if you incorporate that testing in as soon as you can. Where ideally, your product engineers or product developers are actually working with your QE resources or your quality assurance resources to actually do that. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. The technical design itself must support incremental development. So as each increment of the headphone software and hardware design, the technical decisions around that or the rationale behind them and any assumptions made are documented along the way. Developers or the engineers write code in short, manageable sprints that correspond to the user stories. The code is reviewed, merged, and maintained through version control systems such as Git. And a robust deployment pipeline is set up to automate the process of deploying the code to different environments. As features are developed and delivered, corresponding documentation is updated and maintained along the way. And these could include things like user guides or technical manuals that need to go out. Release management is a critical final phase of the development of a product, and it's whether it's prepared and delivered to the end users. The team develops a comprehensive launch plan detailing how the headphones will be released to the client or to the customers. This includes timing of the release to maximize impact, preparing marketing materials along the way, and ensuring sales channels are ready to receive and to distribute the headphones. Um, Testing the software components, similar like A/B testing. We'll use A/B testing as an example, as we have there, is testing different components or versions of the headphones. So we might be testing companion apps or the microphone part of the headphone, and this could be implemented to different versions along the way to see which ones using control tests uh, with a subset of users determine which are the most effective options. And we could take that feedback back and go through some of the product design refinement session again before releasing to the mass market. Channels for collecting feedback are established to get that kind of feedback, and tools are utilized to monitor how clients are using the headphones and if the feature is popular. So once it goes out to the clients, we start with a small subset, gather that feedback back, and may go back. And so as we see the arrows that are turning around, there's a continuous cycle of coming back and forth between the different areas. And it could go a number of iterations before it goes to the mass market. So you might have a pilot launch, you might get something out to select a user group. You may want to get some runners that are influencers out there. And hey, here's the coolest new product we have from this headphone manufacturer. Gets the word out there. They help you with their feedback to refine it so that it's ready for mass marketing. And again, and finally, we get our product out there. We're going to dive a little bit into some of the tools and methodologies around each of these phases. We talked about how the circles keep coming back and forth and how inputs from product design and refinement make their way towards incremental delivery and release management, but it also comes back and there's that back and forth. And we're going to touch upon some of the methods that help explain that. So in product design, Employing structured methods and tools is essential for developing products that effectively meet the user needs and align with their business goals. So, going from a defined business outcome to delivering a tangible product involves strategic and systematic process to ensure product not only meets user needs, but also contributes positively to the overall strategic goals of the company. Customer journeys map out the entire experience a user has with a product, from initial awareness through various stages of engagement to post-purchase behavior. So, what's the customer journey of someone who needs to purchase these headphones? So, mentioned that I'm a runner. I go running, and I've gone through various headphones through the years. Um, I'd be part of that customer journey as a customer. So, if you take your product owner and that develops a persona of that runner. So, what is the runner looking for? The runner is looking to be active, mobile, not tied down possibly by wires or anything. So we'd like it to be wireless. We'd like it to be easy to switch back and forth. So it could be a tap or a simple command. And that's building out the customer journey and to the point of purchasing, how easy or how hard is it to purchase, how easy or hard it is to get support if there's issues. And you develop that through. You work on putting a plan on a page, which is an outline of the core aspects of the product in a concise format. It typically includes the product vision, target market, key features, differentiation strategies, and so on. Design thinking is user-centered approach to innovation, encourages teams to focus on the people they are creating for, leading to better products and services. Other product definition tools may include wireframes. Wireframes are really popular in putting an idea in front of people to get that focus group feedback. Some of the tools around product refinement include 3-point estimation. So for product refinement, it's really a stage where the development of specific, uh, the development process it comes up, and there's tools to actually determine what is required there. And we'll start with the 3-point estimation. So that's a technique used to estimate time or resources needed to complete a task or project. It typically starts with considering the best case or optimistic view, the most likely case, realistic view, or the worst case, pessimistic scenario. You get those different views there, and this approach helps manage uncertainties. So you get the different viewpoints coming in, and you understand how much effort it will take. A lot of this then could go through what we call invest criteria, and that ensures that the user stories are well prepared for implementation. And what invest typically stands for is independent. So the story should be able to stand alone. It's negotiable. Stories should leave room for discussion. Variable. Each story must deliver a clear value. Estimable, should be able to put an estimate to it. Small, so small enough to be manageable. And testable, clear criteria on how you want to test. The breakdown method, a lot of people know about WBS, work breakdown. It really helps teams understand and organize tasks necessary to complete the product or feature. User story maps provide visual representation of the user's journey with a product, and this tool is incredibly useful in the refinement process as it helps teams visualize the complete scope of the product or features from the user's perspective. Incremental delivery has different approaches, allows teams to adapt to changes to integrate feedback effectively. Scrum is one of the most widely used frameworks for implementing Agile. It's one that you hear consistently in the industry. It structures development processes in fixed length iterations called sprints, which are typically anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. And each sprint involves a cycle of planning, development, testing, and reviewing. Extreme programming emphasizes high quality software and responsive customer collaborations. Some of the attributes of XP or extreme programming is you may have a programmer or developer working on code with someone watching over their shoulder to ensure that the code is sound. So you have 2 sets of eyes on things. Kanban is a lean method that focuses in just-in-time delivery. Unlike Scrum, Kanban doesn't work in fixed iterations. It actually takes us through a flow board from a to-do to a work in progress to done. Some of the tools around release management is creating that feedback loop, establishing channels and practices for gathering information or back from users or those that actually buy a product. Separation of deployment from release is a strategy where code is deployed into production environments, but it's not immediately made available to all the users. We talked earlier about maybe using some influencers with the headphones. So I went out to a select group, got feedback back from them, and we separated the deployment from a release, a general release. During new releases, so in terms of software code, load balancers, DNS, feature flags, they're all used along the way to limit who gets the access to the product or to the code first, so we can get some of that feedback to make sure and to ensure that all is sound, all lines back up to that product vision before it goes out to the general public. The business owner plays a pivotal role in production design, acting as a key decision maker. The product owner role is bridges the gap between the business and development team and end users, ensuring that the product development aligns with the goals. They're responsible for maintaining, prioritizing product backlogs, which have priority over others, using some of the methodologies we talked about. Product engineers are primarily responsible for translating those refined product designs and specifications into functional code. And so they'll do work on coding, configuring, modifying product features. The product operations role, part of release management, really is to ensure that the smooth and efficient delivery of the software or product gets out to the public. Now, product design has a tagline here of "you can only refine what has been designed," and that emphasizes the sequential nature of product development, where the process of refinement, enhancing, iterating, and perfecting must be predicated on the initial design. Product engineering, "you can only release what has been delivered," underscores the prerequisite of having a completed and thoroughly tested increment of the product before it can be introduced into the market itself. And then what ties everything together, "you can only deliver what has been refined," and that refers to the fundamental principle in product development. Before a product or feature can be delivered to users, it must undergo a rigorous process of refinement. This brings us to the end of the presentation. We've taken, we started with business outcomes. What are we trying to achieve? Increase revenue, for example. Gone through the process to get to a product, refinement along the way, feedback loops, iterations, back and forth, influencers that help get the message out and to get some refinement requirements back to a final product that's out there, and shows us how our product owners and product engineering teams work together. So this will take us to the part of the webinar where we open it up for questions. Please use the comment section to provide the questions. Just checking now to see if there's any questions coming in. Okay, I think one is coming in. Just checking my other device to see if any other questions are coming in. Okay, if there are no questions, my colleague, oh wait, we have one came in. You talked about incremental development. What recommendations do you have when the product is hardware, like the headphones you described? Okay, so when it comes to hardware itself, this is where a lot of different organizations will actually come up with a mock-up or a prototype or a proof of concept. So like the headphones, for example, they'll, they'll, these types of teams typically has an innovation department or folks working on innovation, and they'll come up with that prototype. And then that'll go through the cycle of the feedback loop. So it's the first part under product design, where they're going to actually go and request feedback from the clients out there or for potential clients. So they'll take the prototype out there, they'll get some people to test it out, and they'll get that feedback back. And that if it's sound and viable, they'll refine the requirements and they'll actually go through the process of developing that hardware, similar to the headphones that we talked about. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions? Okay, my colleague is going to put up a link to the actual document itself. There's a QR code here for you to share your thoughts and subscribe for any upcoming events as well. And happy to answer questions as you go through and grab the information there. You can learn more about it and you can ask questions offline as well. And download the presentation, ask questions away, and we'll respond back to you. And if there are no other questions, I guess we'll drop. Thank you everyone for your time today.